Okay, thank you. I have Councillor Malinowski and then Councillor Edge.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to refute what we've just heard from the previous speaker, which once again unfairly puts words in the mouths of East Cambridgeshire residents. Residents across East Cambridgeshire, but also specifically in my division of Burwell and Fordham, have found themselves forgotten and overlooked in the course of the debate about this key issue. Many of them commute, shop and send their children to schools in Cambridge. Some of them using the new T4 and T5 bus services that wind their way through the area. Some of them using the cycleways that are being developed to reach these expanding communities, and others the park and ride facilities that have been set up to make that natural journey easier. Nobody in that most southeasterly corner of the county is doing that with Peterborough, Chair. Therefore, option A is the only option for local government reorganisation that makes sense in our corner of Cambs, where 16 parishes representing over 18,000 people are banding together to write to the government non-politically to ensure that they are not overlooked and that their communities, which have been bolstered in recent years by a steady flow of young professionals seeking work in the city, remain contiguous. I said the city, didn't I? That's a common phrase you sometimes hear in our neck of the woods, because there is only one big city nearby, with no offence to my colleagues from Ely. Peterborough is a 51.5-mile journey away from Burwell by car. Cambridge, by comparison, is 11.8, and if you make that 51.5-mile trip, you have to drive along the A14 right past Cambridge anyway. If one of the other options for LGR does go ahead, it will be a cruel and unusual punishment indeed to inflict that journey on councillors in that new authority, but it will be an even greater injustice for the public who may need to visit their new council to sort their council tax bills, attend planning meetings, or indeed ask a question and a supplementary of their councillors. You may think, well, fair enough, some people have to do that to visit the county council now, but we all have district councils closer to home, and those will be gone soon. These new unitaries will be the only layer of government many people are able to interact with for the next 50 or whoever knows how long years. That's why it's so important we get this right. The leaders of South Cambridgeshire District and Cambridge City Council have made clear that they think there are serious advantages to joining forces together to boost the local economy, channel growth and streamline services in the south of the county around Cambridge. I do not disagree with them, but I have seen no argument that can persuade me that those same benefits do not also extend to including East Cambridgeshire. It is what local people keep telling me they want. And Councillor Goldsack and his leader at East Cambridgeshire District Council, with their majority of 0, ignore the voices of their constituents at their peril. For me, because of that reason alone, it is only right that this council has built this business case for option A. If the Conservatives have given up on our corner of Cambridgeshire, that is fine, but we have not. Ultimately, this decision is out of our hands. It will be decided in some stuffy boardroom in Whitehall, possibly by people who know very little about our local circumstances. I despair at the way the process has been handled, but I applaud the fact that this council has risen to the challenge of making sure ministers have a fair choice in front of them when they decide, and I commend option A to council, to residents and the government, along with the fantastic amendment we've just passed that outlines how badly this process has been managed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Edge and then Councillor Bulat.
Thank you, Chair. It's impossible for me not to be parochial when it comes to LGR. I represent Wood Ditton in the southeast corner of Cambridgeshire, where we're a group of rural communities with few local amenities and nowhere to go if not via Newmarket in Suffolk or through or around Cambridge. The closest parts of my division are just over 6 miles from the centre of Cambridge and the furthest 20 miles. In contrast, it's 46 and 60 miles respectively to Peterborough by road via Cambridge, or at best just over an hour or closer to 3 hours by public transport. Cambridge is closer to us than our district city of Ely. My residents feel strongly that we are a unique part of Cambridgeshire in relation to the reorganisation and have been speaking out often and loudly so as not to risk losing our historic connections to South Cambridgeshire and Cambridge City, or our ability to be heard and properly represented in the future. All options being worked up by the various Tier 2 councils, including our own East Cambridgeshire District Council, with the greatest respect, place us with remote areas that we have no direct ties to, infrastructure, service-wise, or community. Closer still, and central to many of our lives, is Newmarket, Suffolk. My division, and that of Councillor Malinowski's, surround Newmarket by all but a single vein of 3.8 miles of road connecting it to Suffolk. I therefore welcome the amendment put by Councillor Kane earlier, as for my residents, LGR was a missed opportunity to sort things out with full consideration of local anomalies. Because of the lack of amenities, most of us use Newmarket for GPs, dentists and convenience shopping. We do not use Newmarket for schools or hospitals. With the exception of secondary provision in Burwell and Bottisham, which incidentally many parts of South Cambridgeshire also use, we have no options but to look to Cambridge or Bury St Edmunds for 16 plus provision or hospitals. The point is we have our own complications locally that we fear would simply not be understood by a distant administration in Peterborough with a different geographical and demographic lens. For any option other than A, the management of strategic services such as children and young people and adults and health would likely encounter significant additional and unnecessary costs. Councillor Martin and others earlier are misguided. It is democratic to look beyond what is your own interests, recognising a majority opinion shared by the public is democratic. I fully appreciate the complications that LGR brings. For differing reasons, few sensible people would ever have asked for it to be done in this way. I do, though, firmly believe that regardless of my own residents' concerns, option A is the only sensible option on the table for the whole of Cambridge and Peterborough in the situation we have been forced into, and it has my support. I appreciate many others in this place may have mixed feelings on this, as strongly put by my colleagues earlier. If an option isn't on the table, it isn't going to be considered. It is essential, therefore, that at least one council put forward the option for consideration by ministers and therefore encourage members to support the recommendation for this option being put forward by this council.
Thank you very much.